Homosexuals or those believed to have associated with homosexuals.
Right. And the ironic part is that if you talk to Pat Robinson, Pat Buchanan, the first thing they'll do is complain about all the government interference in their personal lives. But they're also the same people who want to turn around and draw up laws who we sleep with as an adult. I have more important things than to pull out my binoculars and look at my next door neighbor's window.
Yeah, they do seem a little obsessed with other people's sex lives, don't they? I've often thought that, too.
Two things we're obsessed with in this country, sex and race.
Sex and race.
Two things we have very little control over.
Indeed. Line 6. Go ahead.
The question I have is whether this gentleman has any thoughts on this recent book by Murray and Herrnstein about IQ and the assertion that there is a 15-point difference in IQs on the average between whites and blacks. The other thing I was going to say, too, is in response to that other person's question about other races having hate groups, MOVE, I think, would be an excellent example that, in fact, there are organized groups that live in compounds that are very similar to...
yeah, but look what happened to MOVE. Look what happened.
And look what happened in Waco to the Branch Davidians.
That's right, but it ain't happening in wherever the heck this compound is in Pennsylvania with these white supremacists.
Plus, MOVE might argue that theirs was about self-preservation, not about going out and shooting white people in the neighborhood. They were living in West Philadelphia. They built a bunker because they thought they were going to be attacked.
Right. I don't believe they were calling for the extermination of white people, which changed a little bit. This thing on the bell curve, first of all, I question the IQ of the person who wrote it.
I think they have a very high IQ, supposedly.
When I read that stuff, you can buy that identical literature at Aryan Nations and could have for years. But as a person that was 13 and 14 who was looking at stereotypes and hearing the stereotypes, those were one of the things that I heard. People pulling out this IQ thing, pointing out with all the differences between the races. As a white person, you belong to the white race, you have a higher IQ. It was something that validated what I was beginning to feel. I can tell you that the organized hate groups are going to jump on this thing.
Yeah, but you know what they're not going to do with it? They're going to pay attention to the fact that it says that white people are somehow smarter than black people, but they're going to, of course, ignore the fact that the same book says that Asians are smarter than whites.
well, of course, you never admit a weakness, correct?
Indeed. Let's go back to the phone. Line 7, go ahead, please.
Much like the Liberty Bell, the bell curve is cracked.
Line 7, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to respond to the comment about Pat Robertson's attacks or picking on gays and lesbians. For those of us who have tried to read the Bible doesn't preach hate of these people. They hate the actions these people take. They say, hate the sin, love the sinner. Okay? I've been watching Pat Robertson for a little over a year now. Before that, I would give him the time of day. And he does not preach any vitriol or hate against anybody. So I think there's a little bit of either misinformation or miscommunication on Pat Robertson's stand on bigotry. I think the only acceptable form of bigotry in this country now is against religious people in general. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I totally disagree with that. And second of all, I'll point out that Pat Robinson is raising thousands, if not millions of dollars off of his bigotry in terms of the homosexual question or the gay and lesbian question. 10 years ago, Pat Robinson wasn't talking about gay and lesbians at all because it wasn't the hot button issue to push, And this idea
abortion was a hot button then, and it's not anymore.
At that time.
Right.
And the idea that you hate the act but you love the sinner, I mean, that's kind of ludicrous. And when you look at the various things in the Bible that teach us not to judge one another, to teach us to love one another, and again, not to pass that judgment on one another. But I think it is morally and religiously wrong to pick on anyone or to brand anyone's lifestyle a sin.
Well, I hate to get off the subject, but what interests me is again, this sort of obsession with this sexual aspect. I mean, there are so many prohibitions in that Bible. Has anyone ever toted them up? My Lord, there's thousands. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. If you were to look, each one of us, at that Bible, we're breaking those things on a daily basis in an extraordinary manner to beat the band. Why does Pat Robertson not talk about the ones that the faithful who listen to him every night are breaking every day, because then they wouldn't send him their money?
What I often wondered, well, not often, only recently in life, is, first of all, at the Christian Coalition, they just had their recent convention with Dan Quayle and so forth. They all talked about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ would not have been there. He wouldn't have been invited because he was too liberal. Because Christ went out and he fed the poor. Christ went out into the inner cities and he worked with criminals and with prostitutes. He worked to make a change in his environment around him. not to sit in an ivory tower and to point fingers and to raise dollar bills and check out his poll rating, or to set up a political organization.
I'm sorry.
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Now
No, go ahead.
Your job, and you're quoted somewhere, I read it, as saying that your job in the Aryan Nation was to make hate palatable.
Yes.
Is that easy to do?
Oh, very easy to do. You can make hate palatable simply by changing some code words around, or having the media say nice things about you. Once the media in the Pacific Northwest started saying that I was educated and articulate, I was fun to be around, that wall between me and the community came down. David Duke was nobody until the media said he was sexy and charming and articulate. Then he started winning elections. He was also, again, being able to use code words, welfare, crime. We want to stop those people. And again, those images that have been with us for many years of people on welfare, people who are committing crimes, are African-American people. And the thing is, it's blatantly untrue. If you want to talk about crime, you can pull out a picture of every race in this country as far as committing crimes or criminal acts.
Hey, Floyd, like in 2 minutes here, real quickly, how did you get seduced into it? And what are the powers of seduction? I mean, what is the line, and who is the likely target?
Well, as a 13-year-old kid who was lacking a lot of self-esteem, who was living in a foster home, who was looking for something to grasp hold of, here was something that had flags and uniforms and guns and a sense of power.
And you were superior no matter like how tough geometry was. You might not have been doing well, but you were superior.
And there was someone to blame. That's got to be a big
And that's the easy part, but also if you look at the racist movement today, there's fascinations with uniforms. The patches, the pins, the guns, all things that 12 and 13-year-old boys are into.
You could put them in plaid and ties and it'd be okay.
It's the maturity level. Intellectually, I continue to grow.
Okay, but
the maturity level kind of like stymied, and we could walk around, we could talk about how tough we were and how superior we were and how macho we were and how we could keep our women in line and so forth. They're out recruiting 13 and 14-year-old kids at high schools. I just spoke at Elderdice High School where racists have shown up to recruit, and they're not sending adults in to recruit, they're sending in young people to recruit. I think the misconception of the racist movement is that it's made up of 30-year-old white males. Overwhelming majority of the people coming into the hate movement today are between the ages of 14 and 25. Skinheads number 3,500 in this country, according to an Anti-Defamation League report. They only numbered 1,000 in 1988. Those are the ones that will shave their heads and wear the uniforms. What about the ones that I worked with at colleges and universities around the country that don't shave their heads and don't wear uniforms? But the bigotry is still the same and still is virulent.
It's gone suburban.
It's gone
or
suburban.
academic, yeah.
Line 8, go ahead, please. Line 8.
Hello?
Hello?
Lynn?
Yes?
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I didn't get your guest name.
Floyd Cochran?
Floyd, let me ask you a question. Here in western Pennsylvania, there's a show that, or a radio show that comes on Sundays out of West Virginia, and I don't know what the name of it is, but I've listened to it for the bizarreness. And it's a guy that comes on, you know, it's like Hitler's great, tries to tell you...
Dr. Pierce?
You know who I'm talking about?
William Pierce? He was running a compound in Pocahontas County, West Virginia. It's probably him or one of his people.
That's it. You got it. Now, the question I want to ask is, how can a radio station put this on? I mean, this guy's stuff is such, you know, like, he talks like this. Hello, today, you know, we have to take the Jews out, and, you know...
What radio station are you hearing this on?
It's coming out of West Virginia, Wheeling, somewhere in Wheeling.
Okay.
First of all, he approaches the television, and I could be wrong, you can correct me on this. If a person comes and they are a minister or they're representing a church, you cannot deny them access to the airwaves, provided they have the money to pay.
I have no idea.
And again, and there is the difference. If this was strictly a political idea, the station could say no.
No, excuse me.
Being done in the name of God.
Excuse me. This is not a church. This is just a guy that has his agenda that he puts on, and they, you know, they take money, and it's like the craziest thing you ever heard.
What do they call the group or his group?
Well, they try to, like, it's an Aryan group is what it is. They try to cover it up, but, you know, I don't know what they call it. It's
National Alliance.
National Alliance?
There you go. That's it. That's it. National Alliance.
And what is that?
You know,
Floyd?
Well, the National Alliance was founded by Dr. Pierce, and he runs what is known as a Cosmesis Society or community in Pocahontas County.
A what?
Cosmesis, which teaches the race based on a very crude Darwinism instead of religion teaches law based on revelation. He claims he teaches law based on natural selection. So he's very crude, but he's also effective. Every year since 1988, Dr. Pierce, who owns huge chunks of AT&T, has put forth a resolution declaring that AT&T should stop all of its affirmative action hiring programs and also declare that black people are mentally unfit for jobs. This proposal or resolution gets 10 to 12% of stockholders' votes at AT&T, which is, yes, has been documented every year since 1988. Something so blatantly crude can get support. What about when it's packaged a little bit slicker? Then the support is much higher. You know, David Duke got 55% of the white vote. 55% of those people aren't going to join the Klan, but they will respond to messages of hate in code words and when the buttons are pushed.
And when the package is somehow palatable. Floyd Cochran has undergone an extraordinary change, the kind of sort of turnaround that few of us would ever make in our lives, few people would. He was one of the prime haters in this country at the service of the Aryan nation and the Christian identity movement. He now actively spends his life trying to educate people about them. The number 683-1600 if you want to get involved. Cullen, Devlin, we'll be right back.
From the Edwardian age to our age, the drama endures. Upstairs, downstairs, weekday afternoons at 4. It is the sport of kings, and in this sport, one man wants to be the best at his profession. He has the talent, all he needs is a wealthy sponsor, and the one horse with ability that he can shape and mold into a champion. David McCullum is John, the gambler, who gives advice for a price. Susanna York is Rachel, a very rich widow, and Mark Greenstreet stars as trainer, Friday night at 8.
Hi, Cullen Devlin fans. We're so glad you've discovered classic WQEX-16. Now that you've got a taste of what you'll find here, I'm inviting you to make it a habit by joining me Wednesday nights at 8 for TV's only talk show that focuses on the 50-something viewer. So if you weren't born yesterday and you're looking for provocative and stimulating conversation just for us, watch Age-Wise Weekly. I'm Ella Nushano. Wednesday nights at 8, only on WQEX-16.
Racist word, a question on TV to make it sound the opposite.
Is that camera looking at me? I thought it was going to be looking at you.
Surprise.
Hi. I'll tell you what. Let's do something different. Go right back to the phones. Line 7. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Listen, I got a question or a comment for you about this guy. He's supposed to be ex-white supremacist, and he looks at the other side of the coin now. I just want to say something. I work for Allegheny County and a big department in Allegheny County, and I want to say about how he compares like the black workers and the white workers, may I say, how the black workers, and I've been with Allegheny County for a period of 17 years, so I've seen a lot, and how the black workers are treated so much differently when it comes to like a disciplinary problem or a promotion thing. They turned me down for promotion 3 or 4 times because they had promoted a black female, a white female, where I was much more qualified, and every time they get caught doing something wrong or doing something illegal, they always brought the NAACP in or brought this in. But when we wanted to do something, it was like this, or no, you can't do it, and NAACP...
So hold on, are you saying that the white supremacists have a point?
I'm saying they have a valid point. I think the white people are starting out to be the minority, and then the black people are getting better jobs because of their skin color.
Reality check. Did you just say the white people are what? Are you a white heterosexual male?
Yes, I am.
You think you're a minority?
No, I don't think I'm a minority, but I think what had happened is just for any type of job.
Somebody has asked you to move over a little bit. That's all that's happened. It's like we're all in a king-size bed, and you were hogging 5/6 of it, and everybody else is in that other little 1/6, and somebody said, hey, would you move over a little bit and let us in? And you're bitching.
No, what I'm saying is I can't go in the NAACP and say, hey, can you protect me? Can you help me get a job? The NAACP would tell me, no, we can't help you.
Yeah, but here's my concern. I understand why you're frustrated, because you think you're a good guy, you're trying to get ahead, and you don't understand why you're getting bypassed in favor of these other people. I mean, that's an individual thing, like society has its goals, but hold on. Here's my question. How do you go from that frustration, which I understand, to hating people of other races and saying the white supremacists might have a point?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the NAACP, I'm saying they make some valid, good points, and I'm saying that the white supremacists, as crazy it might sound, they do have some valid points too.
Like what? Give us some.
Certain issues, because affirmative action is a good thing. You know, like, just for example, down in Mississippi a few years ago, they wouldn't promote 4 white firemen because they said they had to promote 4 black firemen, and the 4 white guys scored higher on the test, and they scored better.
Hold on, does this make you hate black people?
No, I don't hate black. In fact, I work with predominantly all blacks. I get along with blacks.
You must be real popular.
No, it's not that. I am popular. But I'm just looking at both sides of the coin here. As I'm saying, is the NAACP will do nothing for me because I'm a white.
Why should they? It's a National Association for Colored People.
But how do you answer someone like this guy?
This is the breeding ground for the hate groups. This guy's got a grievance, and here you're ripe for the picking, sir.
What I'm saying is the NAACP, when they go into a hearing or some kind of disciplinary, they bring the NAACP in, and the county is so scared of them, it's unbelievable how scared the county is of them.
We're supposed to learn from history, right? And our past history has enslaved black people. Our past history has held black people down.
Wait, hold on.
I don't have a problem.
Right.
I don't have a problem if somebody gets promoted and maybe they get a few extra points on the sheet because they are black.
All right, but hold on.
I don't have a problem
Here's
with
this guy who's thinking 17 years, I'm doing a good job, I'm getting bypassed. You know, all in the sense of everyone moving forward, great ideal, but like I'd like more take-home pay to send my kids through college and pay the mortgage and not be nipped by the end of the month. So he's thinking...
Well, what about the black family
who
more often than not couldn't get a job?
Wait, but I guess the point is that Lynn is making a very valid observation, and that is the guy is right to hear these ugly messages and say, well, you know what?
Which is why the hate groups are growing, because when the middle class starts getting stretched economically and feels that they can no longer provide for their family, historically they've gone to the extremes. I mean, we can point that out.
But these jobs used to be available only to the caller and his buddies, the white guys. Blacks didn't have access to those jobs.
Well, in many areas
Women
they still
didn't
don't.
have access to those
I understand.
jobs. And that's what I'm saying about move over, make room. It's just not...
But he's having a human reaction to it.
Yeah, but
the human reaction is, I'm doing a good job, I want to move up. But what I'm saying is, it does prove the point, though, that's where, you know, you said he was right.
And it works great as a recruiting technique, right? Because you could go into an area and point out several of these surface things. What about affirmative action? You can't get a job because of affirmative action. Or
how does that pivot? How does that caller's discontent
because you play on that discontent.
Now that guy
you
could
play
vote
on
for David
other
Duke.
fears.
No problem. Yeah.
And you keep pushing the buttons to where that person or people around him will eventually could end up in a hate group.
What would you try to stop? What would you say
times.
tonight to try to stop that?
Point out that individual kind of hurt is all over the country. There's all races of people who are feeling that right now because of the way the economy is in various parts of this country. That there are white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people who are having economic problems, who can't make ends meet right now, but there's no reason to hate. There's no reason to look at someone else very disparagingly.
Somebody else who's struggling.
Somebody else who is struggling.
And blame it on them. If he's got a problem, don't you agree that, I mean, affirmative action, I think people could say that in some respects, maybe it's run its course, maybe it is now starting to be counterproductive. It seems to be creating a major backlash now.
Yeah, and in that regard, the government is more at fault. If you're going to hate somebody, hate the government.
God knows
don't hate a whole
shooting
race
at the government,
people.
though. Let's go back to the phones here. Line 6, go ahead.
Yes, the way it seems to be going is that, the racism is basically brought out of fear and frustration at the same time. And that's people to blame when you have fear and frustration are the ones who've always been the scapegoat throughout America's history.
Do you have a question?
Actually, that's the comment.
Okay.
And I wanted to see how Floyd felt about that comment.
I
We can
wasn't...
barely hear you. That's
Yeah,
part of the
yeah.
problem
You're
here.
saying that, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, you're saying, say it again, the audio was bad.
Okay. It's basically out of the fear and frustration, the way things are going now,
Right.
and see also how basically how the Black Americans were treated throughout this country's history, and now it's sort of like the pendulum swinging toward the other way, and now the fear and frustration is building up to a point to where they'll say we have to get this pendulum back the way it was going the first time.
In other words, is racism coming back into vogue because once it was and then it fell out of fashion, now the perception is, as our earlier caller said, blacks are getting a better deal in this country than white people are, and that's why it's all swinging back?
Well, that's part of it. I think for the first time in hundreds of years, the white male is beginning to feel threatened.
Quite clearly.
And once he starts feeling threatened, he doesn't have the old ways of reacting, which was through the club or oppression of people by enslaving them or beating them down or whatever. So now he has to feel superior somehow. Well, one way to feel superior is by placing all that blame on a group of individuals or a group of people or community and boo-hooing about it. You know, I say that as I'm on the computer system, on the Delphi system, and there's the White Equality Forum, and all they talk about is the various things that not this caller, but the previous caller had called in about, I can't find a job, life is getting bad for me, you know, the white male no longer has that position that he used to have. Whenever anyone's position is threatened, they get angry and they try to retain that position.
So they beat their wives.
So they beat their wives or kick the dog, whatever it may be. And again, there is a lot of that fear. But as a white male, at one time, it felt a lot of that fear. I'm losing my position. I mean, when you have been raised and your history shows you that you have maintained this elite, this powerful position, now all of a sudden you find out, geez, I'm not the only person in the universe.
It's got to be hard. I mean, I understand on a human level how that's very upsetting for the part of the population that was always superior and were told they were superior and knew they were superior and everything around them said they were superior. Now all of a sudden the rules changed in midstream, and while it benefits me, a woman, and it benefits black people, it doesn't do anything for you guys, you white males out there, but it's fairer.
But actually, I operate now from a much stronger position than I ever had.
Why is
and
that?
I'm still a white male. Well, first of all, one, because I have changed, but also I've liberated myself from that hatred. I feel much more secure dealing with you or dealing with anybody in this room in the city of Pittsburgh or in this world.
Got
and
a
as
lot
a result
more
of that,
energy
I feel a lot
and room
more
to think,
strong.
right?
Yeah.
About good things.
Well, I have more room to think, but just as an emotional feeling.
Yeah.
I feel much more secure than I ever did.
Where do women factor into this movement, if at all?
Oh, actually, there are more women entering hate groups today than ever before. I just wrote an article called Sisterhood of Hate, pointing out that women in the racist movements are picketing abortion clinics like in Portland, or they've got the Aryan Women's League, which puts out videotapes on childbirthing techniques and so forth.
What?
On childbirthing techniques.
What is the Aryan childbirthing
No,
technique?
the Aryan Women's League, and they produce a video on childbirthing techniques and how to be a proper
mainstream?
wife.
Is that it?
Yes. Well, not only to go mainstream, but it's used as a recruiting tactic, too, and an educational
Well, I mean, is there anything
tool.
different about giving
No,
childbirth in the Aryan way?
No, but
than-
it's also something that you wouldn't expect, and it's a good tool. It's also
crossover.
a good way to bind people or to attract people. The women their basic role is cook, clean, and have children, and not necessarily in that order. To have that quote-unquote traditional family. Do they get to wear shoes? Usually Doc Martens, yeah.
We'll go back to the phones, line 8.
I gotta tell you, I was never, I spent
hold on.
2 years actively where I was out being a recruiter and a spokesman with a hate group. Maybe it was because I was raised in New York. I did have a certain amount of what some people would consider liberalism in me. I was never attracted to any of the racist women in the movement, because when you want to have a mate, you want to have somebody that is going to challenge you, who's going to talk with you, who is going to tell you at times you're full of shit or go to hell or whatever.
You do? Well, see, this is
In the racist movement.
And no wonder you didn't fit in overtime. Line 8, go ahead, please.
Yes, ma'am. I just have a statement to make, a couple of statements just to kind of point a couple of facts out. And that goes back to the IQ. I know that's one of the big controversial topics for black people and white people. Yes, it's true that black people have averaged about 85 over the years compared to the national norm of 100. However, historically, people have to keep in mind that there's been various other groups, especially around World War I, immigrant groups in particular, like the Italians, Poles, and Greeks, who scored about the same, and today who are about 100 on these tests. And I also like to point out another point is that, unfortunately, this is kind of a sad topic because we often look at the color black and we group a lot of people into that, but really, black really is a very dynamic and has a lot of cultural differences internally. For example, black West Indians are physically, you really can't tell the difference among compared to other blacks, yet culturally there's a world of difference. And these are all things we have to keep in mind whenever we look at black people, just like we do white people, that there's variances in black people, just like there are white. And
okay.
I know all night we talked about just black people, but we have to keep in mind that there's many differences.
What is your point?
I guess just that, is that when we talk about black people, and we have to really keep in mind that there's lots of cultural
We got
differences.
that part. So what is the point?
That's the point.
That's the point,
That's-
I guess.
That's basically it. We have to just keep an open
I
mind.
want to say
got
something
it.
about the
Thank you.
IQ thing for a minute. I never had any belief or faith in the IQ system because when I was in school, mine barely registered above Forrest Gump. And I still have been somewhat
You're
successful.
quite clearly a
and
bright man, though.
But if I
That's-
took an IQ test, I wouldn't score in the triple digits because I don't have those necessary motor coordination skills. I don't have a high school diploma, so you know I don't have that whatever to score high on an IQ test. IQ means absolutely nothing. I mean, I've dealt with people, and I would speak at colleges all over the country. I work with politicians all over the country, and who have these super high IQs. And some of them are some of the stupidest people I've ever dealt with.
I'll tell you one
and
thing,
I've worked with farmers
They're boring.
who don't have that high IQ but are practical. They have the common sense.
You're right.
IQ means nothing. It's an artificial intelligence.
Line 7, go ahead.
Absolutely. Line 7.
Thank you. I want to speak directly to the caller previously. You have already addressed the caller who just called, the one for whom you couldn't answer the question about frustration, 17 years with the county, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. White males in particular and white people in general have always benefited from affirmative action in the United States of America and still do. To the exact extent to which they do not recognize that, they contribute to the problem. What he's worried about now is the more right-thinking and conscious of us leveling the playing field. Nothing is changing for him. He does not want to recognize that what we're doing is leveling the playing field for the minorities who have been systematically excluded by the institutionalized racism in this country. And unless we speak the truth about that and address the institutions, then we cannot reach the individual. We have institutionalized racism by, in fact, not teaching the history correctly, by not addressing the philosophy correctly. Unless you factor into the philosophical questions, all the perspectives of all the people, you cannot pose any universal question.
Ma'am, I've got that, but and I think this guy, in theory, I think, let's believe the best. This guy, in theory, understands that wrongs have occurred, that rights have to happen, but at the end of the month, he's looking at his
Well,
bottom
the truth
line.
is, it's the good guys.
Hold on.
Let me make my point. It's the
wait a
good
moment.
guys like him who contribute most to the problem. Because the truth is...
Ma'am, the point is that in the interest of everyone getting along, maybe we all ought to have a better understanding of it, but maybe the institutions need to build bridges and not divide. I mean, in the interest of progress, division is not helpful to anyone.
Well,
we
we're not
understand
talking
your
about
points are well
division here.
taken.
What we're talking about is facing the reality of the institutionalized racism
Okay,
in
we're
this
gonna,
country.
All right,
okay,
we got it.
sorry, we're going to
I
have to
would like
wrap
to
it up.
say something to that. I agree with what she's saying as far as the institutionalized racism. We have to look at it. People will not generally rally against racism until there has been a crime or unless the symbols are there. So while we here in Pennsylvania are rallying against the neo-Nazi compound, we're rallying against skinheads, those symbols. I
Are we?
Well,
We're not.
I
We're
hope we
not.
are. I've been
We're
traveling the
not.
state enough. I think we're going to have a convention that we're calling for a convention in Allentown to address racism,
Good for you.
organized racism. But while we are looking at the swastika, the sheets, and the skinheads, people will also be forced to start looking at that institutionalized racism and society's racism, because that is how a person becomes a neo-Nazi. You don't wake up, you don't go to bed on a Monday and wake up Tuesday being a neo-Nazi. You work at it based on fears and institutionalized racism, you know?
Floyd, our time's up. You still working at being a better person every day?
Yes, every day.
You are.
Every day. It's not easy.
Well, I want to shake your hand. I think you're quite a
I want
person.
to thank you for having me on your
Thank you
program.
very much. I appreciate it.
And if I had a longer arm, I would do the very same thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Floyd Cochran. Eye-opening hour. Thank you so much. We'll be back, Ann and I, to wrap this all up after this.
These lights are hot.
It is so.
At At 41, Tessa is having her midlife crisis. She quits her PR job for more meaningful work and resolves to keep away from men, relationships, and the trouble they cause. Enter Frank, former plumber, now a millionaire businessman. He's charming and divorced. It's the comedy drama about the everyday life, loves, and pain of this odd couple. Love Hurts, Friday night at 9, here on WQEX. 1783, Captain Ross Poldark returns home from the Revolutionary War to find his father dead, his home in ruins, his family's 2 copper mines idle, and his true love, Elizabeth, engaged to marry his cousin. Robin Ellis stars in the hit PBS series filled with romance, rivalry, smuggling, and winching. Based on the novels by Winston Graham, Poldark, Saturday night at 9.
I'm Don Cannon.
And I'm Sally Wiggin. Election night will keep you updated while you watch your favorite ABC programs.
But if you want live, uninterrupted coverage as the night unfolds, you can get that too.
From 8 until 11, we're teaming up with WQEX to bring you continuous election results on the 94 vote.
The entire WTA4 News team will bring you live reports, immediate updates, and insiders' reaction right here on Channel 16.
For complete election coverage, join Don and me for the 94 vote.
Tuesday, November 8th, 8 to 11 on WQEX 16.
We were just talking, we said earlier that Lynn had Floyd Cochran on, what, a year ago? And he said he's come the distance, some measure of distance from that time. Do you notice a difference in him?
I thought he blew me away the first time I met him, so he seems more relaxed, frankly. He seems like he's more relaxed. I mean, if I could say about the person. I do truly mean what I said when I said to him, I think he's remarkable. I think it is really a rare human trait to be able to turn yourself totally around and to stand up and admit that you've made a serious error, and then to retrace your steps and go back to that fork in the road and head in the other direction. And let's be quite clear that for him to do this is to mean that he's got to be looking over his shoulder every second of his life.
Let me ask you a gut question.
Yeah.
You're a Jewish woman.
Yeah.
And there you are sitting in the studio with him the first time, probably wondering, is this guy for real? I mean, no matter what you read about in advance, you're probably thinking, is this guy for real? Has he really seen the light of day? Right. How do you feel about him, and how did you feel about him, and how do you feel about this whole movement? I mean, what he said in Pennsylvania is terrifying. Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, though, I do recall that when he was first on, I was skeptical. I thought, I mean, I don't get it. How do you hate, you want to kill me, and then you come on my show and you're sweet and nice, and I wasn't sure.
You had negative electrons, right?
Yeah,
That's what they say?
He says, yeah, he used to teach people that Jews have negative electrons or something. Here, let me shock you.
Oh.
It's so unbelievable, but I, as a Jew, all my life have heard this kind of thing and am aware of it. And I really think too few Jews are aware of it. A lot of Jews in this country in complete denial, and a lot of Jews in Germany, as you know, are in complete denial too. Jews need to wake up a little bit.
And do what?
Anti-Semitism is really on the increase. By virtue of the fact that I make my living opening my mouth, I'm on the receiving end of some letters and calls, the likes of which you cannot imagine. The hate out there is palpable. The people Floyd talks about regularly correspond with me. And it is something. It is something. And the fact that most of society, if the threat isn't coming at them directly, if you're not a Jew, if you're not a black, I can see where it's very easy to sort of discount it. And it's why I get so sort of enraged and crazy, why I was jumping all over that guy, because to me it almost is a life and death issue. I had a Holocaust survivor on my show yesterday. This didn't happen in the dark ages. This happened in my father's lifetime. This man was younger than my father. We've got to wake up, and we've got to be vigilant, and we have got to get to the point where we don't tolerate hate.
But you know what part of that is, too? It occurs to me, it's getting smart. It's getting smart enough to say, what is this? I may have these feelings, I may feel like I'm getting a bum deal at work, but I'm not about the business of hating all black people, or hating all Jews, or hating anyone.
Well, it has to do with getting to know a black person, getting to know a Jew, mixing Mixing.
Well, it's also about
mixing.
policy influencing people, building bridges between groups.
Well, I don't hate anybody but haters. I hate you haters. I hate you haters. I
hate that we're out of time, and I sense by your hand gestures that we just may be.
I hate the act. I don't hate the person. I hate them. Goodbye. Oh, by the way. Oh, there you are. Goodbye. Are we still on? You're kidding. Goodbye.